imagine my life without Kundalini Yoga. And I can't imagine, man, how do people survive without meditating, you know? And so to pass that on, to see people who take teacher training, they're so transformed. You know, they're so much more alive, so much more awake to their own self. You know, just the potential that they had already, you know, parts of themselves that maybe they had bottled up or pushed down comes out to the surface, and they're just more vibrant. Their faces are shining, they're more smiley, they're smilier.
I had this great job and I was getting promotions, I was engaged, like my life was fantastic, but I still felt like there was something missing. You know, this piece that I just didn't feel connected. Like on the outside, everything was like, oh wow, she has this amazing life, but on the inside, I knew there was something more.
I started listening to Guru Singh's lecture, and a friend of mine, Sabrina, she was already going to Yoga West, and she says, why don't you come over? So I went for Guru Dhan's class, and in every class I used to cry at the A Long Time Sunshine, and I realized that this is what I was looking for. This is where I felt the connection.
It's so beautiful to see these people who are searching all come together and recognize they didn't really have to look very far at all. And the beauty of it is that not only do they find themselves in this community of people who want to find themselves, but they also find themselves. So they find out more who they are, and they get the tools and the skills to stay connected to that and to stay strong. So they know who they are, and they have a community that supports them.
And the experience was amazing. We have like a great group, and then we start playing together, and we are still being friends. So I have like multiple new friends that I love. It's great.
The trainers there were exceptional. I knew a lot of them before, but I would say they had their unique gifts, and one of the things that I learned was I was happy to experience all of them at training.
As a human being, I have different behaviors inside me, different emotions and everything. And I felt that all those teachers took care of each of my emotions. And it was really beautiful. I felt that the whole teacher training was just custom tailored for me.
As Yogi Bhajan has famously said, you know, you master something by teaching it. And I think that's really one of the greatest gifts to the teacher training program, is they groomed us to be teachers. And the support systems are there in place to have us teach by the end of the year. And you really do take on a sense of ownership and responsibility once you start teaching it.
First of all, I have more confidence in myself and more clarity in my mind and more enthusiasm, and I'm more happy, you know, because I feel that in my sadhana I'm releasing a lot of blockages.
Even if it's something difficult and challenging that I'm experiencing personally and internally, an overwhelming emotion, I'm experiencing it. It's not something I'm so totally identified with that I'm just reacting and suffering from. It's more like I'm experiencing my own self, and what I want to do, you know, choose, act is therefore then much more available, because I don't have to just react in the place where I'm sort of surviving.
I was in teacher training, level 1, 2009, 2010. I got very sick. I had an abscess, and I had to have surgery. It was like a life or death, I found out after, of course, and they had to open up, they sliced open my neck on this side. They found that it had spread down into my chest, and I said, I can't finish teacher training. I just don't have the strength. I had a friend call Guru Dhan and tell him I'm just going to withdraw and come back next year, and he called. I knew this would happen. He called and said, this is where you need to be. He said, you don't need to do the physical part. We know, we've seen you, we know you can do it. We'll bring a couch in. You need to be here with these people. This is where you'll heal. So it was a physical thing for me. I started walking and building my strength back up, and then it was because I could barely walk when I got out of the hospital. And when I walked into class, everybody's applauding and hugging me, and I'm like, whoa. And I made it through that weekend. And at the end of Sunday, I was like, I'm back, you know. know, I'm back. It just felt so good to be in that love, to be with those people. You know, it's my family. Whenever I walk into Yoga West, it's like I'm home.
Right now, with the time we live in, there is so much of information available. There's so much of things happening, and how do you deal with it? How do you process it in your mind, in your life, in your family? And this is teacher training is not just yoga and meditation per se. It's a technology. There are numerous meditations and sets and philosophy to read about that gives you that courage to deal with. And I feel, had I not done that teacher training, had I not interacted with my teachers, the students who were there, and the connections that I formed, I would not been here. I'm so stable and calm.
One of the things, the tools that this technology have. For example, when I get up, I meditate, and I connect to that energy, and then I keep that energy during the day. And that little things is like, or help me every day. So things like that, like knowing myself like a little better, is like you just remove all these things that are maybe in your subconscious, and you start being clear yourself. You start being more connected with everything, more like, I don't know, it's like, you need to experience, right? But it's like, it's powerful.
When you experience something that you know is so good, you want to share it with the people you love. And so, yeah, this morning I had a class of close friends, and it was their first introduction to Kundalini Yoga. And so for me, I think the greatest gift is like, it's like sharing love, but it's like sharing like the universe's love.
I wasn't connected to my emotion. I was like, all my emotion became to commotion. And it gave me stability and balance of my emotion. And also it's like, I feel that I met myself again. And in a way, it's a great meeting. And I will never leave myself again.
My favorite part of teacher training are the small groups, because we get a chance to really know one another, and to deal with our lives and the things that are going on in our lives in a way that is so real. You know, it's fantastic to have this big group energy at Yoga West. It's really, I think it's unmatched. But the magic is that we have these fantastic giant experiences, but then we bring it down to really personal, really supportive.
I mean, that's actually a large part of why I chose Yoga West's teacher training to do my teacher training, because I knew that was the original studio, and I knew that that's where Yogi Bhajan himself held space and taught Kundalini Yoga. So I feel his presence in the room. The Yogi Bhajan video nights are great to actually see him, but I feel like he's there. I mean, apart from the huge image of him, I just feel his energy, and knowing that he sat right there where all of our teachers sat, where we get to sit.
Kundalini Yoga is always all levels, and that the key is you get to challenge yourself and open yourself up. So if you're super flexible, you'll go a little further. If you're not flexible, you'll go a little further. It's not where you're at, it's that you go a little further. Right? So if you know a little bit, you'll go a little further. If you know a lot, you'll still go a little further. And that's where the benefit comes, from stretching mentally, emotionally, physically, that extra little bit.
I started teachers training, my intention, because they kind of have you start with that at the beginning, and I really did it to figure out how to bring this yogic experience into my family life. I have 2 kids and a husband, and I really wanted to incorporate living this way and in the world, the Grisht ashram, but really do it more. And the gift is that it's totally delivered.
I feel like the teacher training has given me like so many opportunities to integrate the practice, and it's so practical. I mean, stuff from like how to wake up in the morning, to how I groomed, the cold showers, to my morning sadhana practice, to my diet. I mean, everything is so practical, And the 9 months just has really given me so many opportunities to integrate it. And so now I'm like living it.
So to take a little once a weekend, once a month weekend for yourself to be reminded of how to go through this nutty kind of existence that could be getting nuttier. So, we need these tools to be able to help ourselves and each other, everyone, live together. So I would say, do it.
No one can limit you. You can if you choose, but the resources of the universe are yours to use.
I could take level 1 every year over and over again, and I think I could take it 100 times, and there'd always be more, always be